Okay, so you're someone who likes to stay on top of all the big developments, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the tech world. Well, today we're diving into a pretty significant shift Google's making in how they develop Android, moving it more towards a private model.
Yeah, that's right. So, to really grasp why this is such a big deal, you need to understand the Android open source project, AOSP,
Right.
AOSP, it's
Yeah.
been the foundation for basically all Android phones for years and years. This publicly available blueprint that anyone can modify, build upon, all thanks to the Apache 2.0 license.
Yeah, it's been a breeding ground for so much cool stuff in the Android world. Just a ton of innovation, all that variety. But now Google's kind of switching gears, consolidating things, bringing it all in-house. And today that's what we're here to unpack. Why are they doing this? And what does it actually mean for us, the users?
The million-dollar question, right? Well, it seems the main driving force for Google here is all about boosting efficiency. They've had this dual development structure going on for a while, the public AOSP branch and then their internal Google Mobile Services GMS branch.
Okay, so two separate things going on at the same time.
And apparently this setup, this parallel development, was creating some pretty serious slowdowns.
Yeah, I can imagine almost like trying to build something with two different sets of instructions that are constantly being updated separately, trying to merge those changes. Must have been a nightmare.
Exactly, just a huge headache. Constant merging code from these two branches led to delays. But by bringing everything under one roof internally, Google's thinking they can streamline things, get a much smoother and faster development process.
Makes sense. Cut down on all that back and forth. So they're saying this will lead to much faster development time, fewer of those merge conflicts they were dealing with before, and also means just one unified version of Android for everyone, phone makers, app developers, the whole nine yards.
Precisely one platform, more consistency across devices, and also focusing their resources internally theoretically lets them iterate faster, introduce those cool new features at a quicker pace.
And I bet some of you are listening and thinking, wait a minute, does this spell the end of open source for Android?
That's the big question that a lot of people have, and it's an important one to address because Google's saying their commitment to open source isn't going away entirely. They're still going to publish the complete Android source code, just the timing is going to be different.
So instead of seeing those changes, those developments in real time as they happen, we'll see the final product after each major release, like the Android 16 when it drops or whatever the next one is.
Right. It's less about open development and more about open access after the fact. And also worth remembering the Linux kernel, which is, a major part of Android. It's still under that GPL v2 license, which means it'll stay open source, constantly being updated.
Okay, so the core is still open, but what about all those smaller updates? The more frequent ones to specific parts of the system, are those going to be as open and visible as they used to be?
That's where things get a little interesting. And this might be the most noticeable change for everyday users. You'll probably keep getting updates on your phone, no problem. But the initial development of a lot of those individual components, a lot of that's going to happen internally now. So you might see a bit of a delay, a slight lag in those under the hood changes, because a lot of features are going to be finalized within Google first before they're released publicly in a full Android version.
Interesting. So maybe not a huge change to how you use your phone day to day, but the way the platform itself is being developed, it's going to be a little of transparent, especially at those early stages. Some people might look at this and think, hey, faster releases overall, that's a plus, right? Others might miss that immediate access to the ongoing work.
It's a trade-off for sure on the one hand. Yeah, potentially quicker, more streamlined updates, but then again, less real-time visibility into how things are developing.
So let's recap. Google's taking Android development private, more internal, to make things more efficient, hoping for faster development cycles, a more unified platform. But they're still releasing that code publicly after each major version.
Right, exactly. The key change is really when that code becomes public, not during the development process, but after it's all finished.
So here's something to think about with this new approach, this move towards a more centralized internal development model. How might that impact the speed of innovation in the whole Android world? And what about all that amazing diversity we've seen with Android devices? Will that be affected? Because a lot of that stemmed from that open collaboration model. So it'll be fascinating to see how this all plays out.
Definitely a lot to consider.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Catch you next time.